and they talk about how she's the Phoenix. She's like, I don't know how long I'm gonna have this power. I don't know how long I'm gonna be doing this. Blah blah blah. And
So she's like the Phoenix, like proper. Like
yeah,
this wasn't like some like alternate universe thing, and like she came back and they were all watching this from some alternate dimension or something. She's
Mhm.
the host of the Phoenix.
Echo is the Phoenix. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. Robbie even asked her, he's like, what should I call you? And she's like, you can call me Echo. You can call me Maya. That's my name. Okay, all right. Hello, guys. We are back for another episode of Another Relaunch, episode 31.
Yes,
Huh.
yes.
I'm Keenan. How y'all doing?
What up, y'all? I am LZ.
What's going on, LZ? How are you today?
Child, I'm stressed. I've had such a week.
If you started with a child, I know it's about to be like, I'm stressed.
I was stressed. I thought I had a lint in my beard. It was not. It was gray hair. So I think I'm starting to enter my daddy era, which is, hey, that's fine.
You should like some gray at the like tip of your locks, and then like really.
Yes.
That's why. So I actually have like random gray patch in the top middle of my head up here, and so if I'm ever like picking something up or someone happens to look over, they always think something's in my hair. They're like, "Oh, there's something in your hair." I'm like, "No, it's just gray," and they're just like, "Oh." I'm like, "Yeah, that's why the hair comes off." Like, no one needs to see that all the time.
Yeah, you know. But I'm out here. You know.
Speaking of long, we had like a very long comic book week this week.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited for that. Let's go ahead and get right on into it. So we'll start off with our list. We have Catwoman number 30. This comes from Ram V and Fernando Blanco with colors from Jordi Belair. So this is like an all-star team already. I think I talked about this last time. I just picked this issue up when Ram V kind of got on the Catwoman. I haven't gone back to read a lot of the other stuff for it, but basically it seems like Catwoman is in charge of Alleytown. She's like the queen pin of it, and she's kind of around. She's protecting people. There's actually this really nice part in the book where she's talking to like one of the guys who live there, and she's saying how she's dealing with superpowered thugs and all these criminals and all this other kind of stuff, and she's like, this isn't the world that I live in. This is his world, talking about Batman. And she's like, I don't deal with things like this on a normal basis. I'm not really sure how. And someone needs to say to her, then why don't you call him? And she's like, no, we promise to stay out of each other's way for a little while. And she's like, and honestly, I can do this myself. So it's a really interesting thing with Selena. Again, I've kind of always said she's a character who I don't really know too much about, but I enjoy her from afar. She seems interesting. And this one, she's very interesting. There's some stuff going on where like drugs being made, the Riddler's around, Poison Ivy's in it somewhere. The art and colors are just fantastic. Blanco has a great sense of action. There's like fights when Selena's swinging from the rooftops and like going into cars, beating up thugs. It's a very enjoyable book.
Okay. Question for you, because I am a Catwoman fan and I started this Rebirth issue back in the beginning, but then like got off of it because I was just super busy with other stuff. Can I jump in with the Ram V stuff, or should I go back? I think I only read like the first 3 or 4 issues. She was like starting to be like a queen pin kind of thing in
I would
Gotham.
I would say you could jump back in with the Ram V issues. I think he did the arc before this one, like right before
Okay.
as well. So I would say do that and then go into this. But
Okay.
I think if you're a Catwoman fan, you should definitely pick it up.
Okay. I mean, it's only an issue 30, so I could probably read most of those and get caught up.
I mean, and we still got Joelle Jones on covers, and like everybody knows,
yes,
Joelle Jones stands count. So if you get it for that alone, it's everything. Really good.
Yes.
I'd give this issue a 3.5 out of 5.
Okay, that's solid.
Again, and I only put it kind of like on the lower tier because I don't really know too much about what happened before. I really need to go back and read the first arc. I look at it, I'm like, I'm a little lost. But again, very pretty book, very well written. Ranvi is definitely becoming one of my favorite writers. Like, he is able to balance action, horror, humor, everything, and he like navigates it all with ease. Enjoy it.
Yeah.
Pick it up. So next up, we have Justice League number, what is this? Number 60 from Brian Michael Bendis and David Marquez. Now, how have
Mm.
you felt about Bendis's DC run and all the stuff he's done so far?
Okay, so I haven't read a lot of his DC era stuff because a lot of the stuff that he was given, I'm not fans of those characters,
Okay.
except he was given. So outside of the Green Lantern like corner, I
Mhm.
love the Legion of Superheroes. Like that's
Yeah.
like I love the Legion of Superheroes. So I was super excited that they were relaunching that book and they gave it to him and beautiful art,
Ryan
Ryan
Sook's
Sook.
on art, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes,
He's one of
yes,
my favorite artists.
beautiful art, but like it was not given what I needed it to give. it was it would like it would take like 10 issues just to move kind of maybe something forward. And unfortunately, sometimes I feel like Bendis gets into this thing I call teen speak with him, where
Hmm.
they all sound like the quippy teenager. Like
Hmm.
everybody kind of has the same personality. So I wasn't really feeling it. Even though I
Okay.
feel like I should, because like he's good with those kind of teenager characters. Like, and I feel like that's kind of like the general consensus I feel for his DC stuff has been he's getting the characters I think he would be good on, but it's just I don't know,
Yeah.
it's not given.
I can agree with that, and I kind of feel like this is happening also with this current run of Justice League. Again, we're only 2 issues in, but it feels very decompressed. Bendis taking a very long time to tell the story and get it moving. I will admit it's kind of fun. I think he has a decent enough voice for most of the characters. His Superman is really, really good. And I say this as like a non-Superman fan, but I think that he shows that a Superman is very earnest and like genuinely does look the best in everyone. There's actually like a little part between him and Green Arrow where they're all kind of disagreeing with Superman because Superman is trying to get Black Adam onto the Justice League, and so everybody's like, "What? Absolutely not!" And
It was Superman's idea?
yeah, exactly. Because he's like, because I mean, and when he says it, he kind of gets to the point. He's like, Black Adam has been helping me. He's like, anytime I've been called to some type of disaster, Black Adam has already been there. He's already helped the people. He is can do this. Like I believe in him. And Green Arrow says to him, he's like, you're doing that thing. And Superman's like, what? He's like, you're Superman. Nobody can really disagree with you unless we want to look like the bad guy or we want to look nuts or something like that. He's like, it's not really fair when you try and do these things to us.
We got a point.
Yeah, and so you know what I'm saying. But it's like that's something that a lot of people think, I'm sure. And again, I think Bendis does a really good job with the flow of the team and their interactions and how they get with each other. It's just the story itself is moving at a glacial pace. It has something to do with Naomi and
Oh,
her original home world that she's from, and like the villains are popping in to this earth from that one. And so by the end of it, we actually go back to her home world. The team is all supposed to be together, but somehow they get separated, so it just ends with her by herself.
okay. So it's like this first arc is like an introduction for everyone to get into Naomi.
Pretty much, yeah. There's a
Okay.
really fun panel where Hawk Girl hands Naomi her mace. And Naomi's like, "Oh my gosh, you want me to take this into battle and lead the charge?" And the Hawk Girl's like, "No, absolutely not. Just like, I just want to see if it reacts to you some type of way." It's so, but it's like it always makes me think. I was like, gotta love a mace.
Yes. I know you love a
Um,
mace.
but so that's Justice League. There is also still a backup story from Ram V again. He's telling the Justice League Dark story. It has Zatanna, Etrigan, Constantine. Merlin's kind of the villain of that. Very good. Again, horror, magic, right up my alley. Um, Ram does write Zatanna with like, or at least right now, she kind of has a lack of confidence, and I think it's
Oh,
so funny because everybody knows Betsy is my fave, and
I was gonna
Zatanna's like
say.
Betsy is my DC fave, and it's like, why is everybody writing my girls with this lack of confidence that has never existed before? It's just like, what's going on? Or if it has existed, it hasn't existed in this way because basically they're telling Zatanna they want her to lead the Justice League Dark team, and she's like, oh, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I'm up to the task. And it's like, girl, what? You've done it
Mm,
before a couple
like
of
a lot.
times, like a couple of times. Um, but I'm trying to remember the Justice League Dark before, and I don't remember him writing her like that so much. So I don't know if this is a new thing that he's trying, but I don't know. Something about my girls and their confidence. It's going down.
Oh yeah, I don't like that.
This, this is the year of hurting, apparently. Ranvi also did have another series out that I didn't get a chance to read, but it's his creator-owned series. I believe it's called The Many Deaths of Layla Starr. It's been getting rave reviews, and I intend to pick it up. I didn't get to it this week, but again, it's Ranvi. He is truly quickly becoming one of my faves, and I hope DC doesn't burn him out too quickly. And like he has a very long, illustrious career. That's my goal for him. Okay. But moving away from DC and getting over to the Marvel side of things, next up is we have Avengers 45. And this comes from, I know, right? This comes from Jason Aaron. We actually had a guest artist. Javier Garan was off, so it is Luca Marchesa, I want to say. Let me actually have it written down. Luca Maresca is the name, and David Curiel does colors. Now, we all know I was not supposed to be picking this book up anymore.
Yeah, I thought you was done.
The Phoenix arc was just like terrorism, basically. But this one was Blade centric.
They always get you.
It always gets me. Like I don't know what it is. I can't help it. I like who I like. But so it's also weird because it was like a King in Black tie-in, but it didn't
No.
But it didn't do too much with King in Black. I don't know. It was weird. But so basically, there are some things that happen that Echo is again in the book. She would remember the last time. She is now the new host of the Phoenix Force, which is like you can tell it's kind of not going to last very long. She has a conversation with Robbie Reyes, who's the current Ghost Rider, and they talk about how she's the Phoenix. She's like, I don't know how long I'm going to have this power. I don't know how long I'm going to be doing this. Blah blah blah. And
so she's like the Phoenix, like proper, like
yeah.
This wasn't like some like alternate universe thing, and like she came back and they were all watching this from some alternate dimension or something. She's the host of the Phoenix.
Echo is the Phoenix. Yeah. Yeah. Robbie even asked her, he's like, what should I call you? And she's like, you can call me Echo. You can call me Maya. That's my name. But the moment they have together with their friendship is very cute. And I'll say it looks like it could build to something nice. Again, this is a Blade-centric issue. So we basically get when I don't know if you know, but Dracula has set up camp in Chernobyl to build his new vampire nation. This was something that happened very early on in the Avengers run. We've seen a little bit of it in Wolverine. It's been happening around the Marvel universe. So
this is actually when I dropped the book. This was like really early in the Avengers.
It was run. It was like really. I think it was like issue 7 or something like that.
Yeah, that's when I dropped.
Yeah. But I love vampires, and so the storyline is actually really good. I think the way that it has been able to go throughout different parts of the Marvel universe and still like be very connected has been very well done. You can tell that Marvel looks like they're trying to build the vampires up to something bigger and more than what they've always been, just like mindless monsters that Blade kills. So the Avengers end up going to Chernobyl because they've got some beef with Dracula. And of course they're like, oh, we're going to kill Blade. And Blade's like, no, I'm here to be the new sheriff of Vampire Town to like keep you guys in check. Yeah, it was like really good. And so this is where I think Aaron kind of succeeds. Like when he has a singular character who he obviously enjoys and he just really gets to narrow down those character voices, he gets it. And it's like, okay, this is why you write comics. You don't need to do this like crazy Echo with Phoenix story. I'm sorry, I'm not here for it. I know it's gonna last for at least a year, but let's move past it.
Yeah.
But whatever this I mean, because we got to go through Heroes Reborn.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And then once that's done, I'm pretty sure she's going to be on the new Avengers team still as the Phoenix.
Mm-hmm. So, I wouldn't be surprised if like her as the Phoenix could be the thing that fixes the universe or something, and like she gives it up, and that's what brings the heroes back or something. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense, but it's so wild that I could see that actually being what happens.
I can too, and that's the problem. But yeah, so that's this book. It was a fun issue actually. Like this is another 3.5 out of 5. I give it some
That's
some
high.
points deducted just because of like what this Avengers run kind of is and what it's turning into. Again, I think the next issue after this, we're going into Heroes Reborn, so we probably won't even get the next part of this until later in the year, anyway. But
Mm.
Blade and Vampires, I'm always going to be here for it. I'm sorry. It's just,
Okay.
I don't. The book has the characters I want. We've had Moon Knight, we've had Echo, we got She-Hulk, we got Blade, we got Man Thing. Well, he's like Man Boy now, but it's like it's got a lot of folks that I enjoy. It's got Thor. I love it. Thor's like drunk in the book.
Mm.
It's
Mm.
the Phoenix is his mom. I still
Mhm.
don't understand what's going on with that, but we're gonna just go ahead and move on past that.
Let's skip on over that.
So next up on our list we have the Mighty Valkyries #1. This is also
Oh.
from Jason Aaron, but he co-writes the book with, hold on, let me get that name. Turn Gronbeck. We have Mattia De Lewis on the art, and Marcio Menez is on the colors. Now this story also has a backup for the new Valkyrie that appeared.
Mm.
And so this was in the Mighty's Valkyries King and Black tie-in miniseries where she came in, the new black one. And so we didn't know too much about her. So her whole backup story is basically her finding out her name, which we discover is Runa in the book. But the main
Oh,
story
cool.
is kind of dealing with Jane. She's done with the King and Black stuff. She is a morgue assistant because she wasn't having time to do the things that she should do as a doctor, so they demoted her. But we do seem to be getting into a lot more Asgard stuff, which is where I think Jason Aaron excels at.
Hmm.
And so I'm loving it. Like we see Carnilla, we get some Hela in there. Um, we have Loki and Jane fighting a little bit. She's saving him from like one of his wolf grandchildren things that's trying to kill him. Monster. It's fun. I love Asgard, so I feel like this is kind of exactly what I wanted from the Valkyrie series that we didn't get before. I feel like a
Okay.
lot of I feel like a lot of that was dealing with which was it wasn't bad, but a lot of it was kind of dealing with Jane and like again her as the morgue doctor and just her life as a Valkyrie, but we weren't really in Asgard too much. She was like fighting random goons and like what's Wonder Man's brother's name?
Grim Reaper.
Yes, I think she fought Grim Reaper. I think.
That would make sense. He could like raise the dead, so like
Yeah.
that makes sense.
So we had a lot of stuff of that, which was like fine, but again, like if I'm reading about a Valkyrie, I want to read about a Valkyrie dealing with stuff in Asgard. So
Yeah.
now that,
Yeah.
now that we kind of seem to be getting to that stuff, it's like this issue was great. I really enjoyed it. 3.5 out of 5 for sure.
Okay,
The
great.
back
I
story,
love that artist.
yeah, the art, the art is so
Yeah, he
like
did the Invisible Woman solo series, and it was really good.
like it is so good. He's got like a hyper realism style, but it like work, which I'm usually not a huge fan of. I
Hmm.
remember the artist before on Valkyrie was kind of like that, but I didn't enjoy that. I felt it was a little too static. This one has really good movement. It's great. It's
It's
beautiful,
great. Yeah.
beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff. Um, okay. Next up on the list, Nightwing 79 from Tom
Oh
Taylor
yes.
and Bruno Ronaldo. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I still haven't picked this up, and I still
Yep.
want to
Up
because I
there.
really do like Bruno Ronaldo's art. I think he's
Okay.
an artist. I love his art. He did the Suicide Squad. I think I said that before. He did the Suicide Squad stuff, and I like that. So, but you're gonna have to tell me about how this was and what happened.
Okay. I won't even be too long on this one because the issue was still really, really great. But you get a lot of just more character moments with Nightwing, and you can tell that Tom Taylor has his voice down as far as Nightwing just being a really good person. So there's these kids that like end up pickpocketing him and stealing his wallet, and um, he's a billionaire now, and because
Oh, Nightwing.
yeah, yeah, the last issue, we had learned that Alfred like left him all this money because Alfred passed
Oh,
away.
you did say that.
I don't know how he got killed. I didn't read the Batman issue where he got killed, but he left him like a shit ton of money. So he's a billionaire, and he's basically like trying to see how he can do good now. And he's always felt like Bruce could do better as Bruce than he could as Batman with like giving people money, like helping people live.
Yeah.
So like he runs into like a homeless guy and his kid and like buys them a month at a hotel, and stuff, and he's like buying people pizza and stuff. He's like, I'm gonna start to give back. So you really feel like the qualities of Nightwing that you come to know Nightwing for, and like his compassion and caring about people in this. But then you learn that a lot of these kids are orphans because their parents are being killed and having their hearts stolen. So,
Not the
yeah,
heart stolen.
right? And there's a scene of someone like really shooting a gun and like.
No, because I was like, what side is my heart on?
There's this scene of this guy like shooting a gun and like ripping the heart out of this man, and the kid like running away crying and stuff. So there's some sinister stuff going on in the background while Nightwing is just like, oh, I'm gonna do great and I'm gonna do things to help people. Everything going on in Bloodhaven right now is not that great. I will say fantastic issue, 3.5 out of 5 easily. Okay. This run for me, I think, is going to be much better than what the Nightwing was before Tom Taylor joined. Before I think
good things about that.
Yeah, as much as people may not have liked the whole Rick Grayson thing when he got shot and like was amnesic, I think that now you can kind of look at that as like the rebrand because he came after that is when Tom Taylor came on now, so you can kind of go from there and just look at it as like a whole. We can look past that point and go from here. So I think it's a great. If you're a Nightwing fan, you want to see him flipping and kicking people's asses and stuff, but there's still like great dialogue and great story, and you're really getting the feel of like Nightwing. I picked this issue for sure.
Okay. Shout out to the Nightwing fans. You guys are finally winning. It's been a rough road.
It's been rough.
The powers that be at DC did not like that man.
No. They say that his existence means that Bruce has to get older. So,
which is like, so we might have to have a conversation about this another day. But I've actually just been thinking about comic characters and like aging and all that kind of stuff, and how I actually wish it was happening a little bit more often.
Me too.
And I think that it's some people, some of those older characters, I think it's time to let them go.
Just for a little point now with these characters where it's time to move time forward or let time exist a little bit, you know.
And I don't even think that necessarily means sidelining them completely. I actually had this conversation on Twitter the other day because I was thinking about Wolverine, and I was kind of like, I'm kind of like touch and go with the current Wolverine series, and so I was thinking about if I want to drop it, and I was like, but even if I was to keep up, what do I want to see Wolverine doing right now? And so many people were saying that he's kind of done everything. Just let him rest. Like, let him be how Bruce and Terry had that relationship in Batman Beyond. They were just like, let him be the Bruce Dolores Terry, you know? And
yes. Just I would love that.
Yes. And I was like, yeah. I was like, why can't he just relax like now? And I think about like Bruce is the same way. It's just like, just go sit down for a little bit. Like, let everybody.
Why do you think people loved Old Man Logan so much? I think people like to see that dynamic of Wolverine at this point anyway, of him being more the mentor.
The drunken master. It's just like,
yeah.
Like, and his bones are heavy. He's tired. Let that man rest. But that's the story for him. So that was Nightwing. That's cool. Next up on our list, we have Spider-Woman number 11. And this is from Carla Pacquiao. Yes. And Perry Perez with colors from Frank DeMarta. Now, I started this, dropped it, and I'm jumping back in with this issue.
Oh, God, I think you're right. Aren't you a Spider-Woman fan? Like,
I am a Spider-Woman fan.
Like her.
I enjoy her a lot. So the first arc of this run was a little rough for me. It kind of deals with like Jess. She's been infected by something, so she's very aggressive with everyone. She's always yelling at people. It was kind of a turn off. And it was like, you get that it's supposed to be for a point, but it was just so excessive to the point that it was like, I don't even care what she's going through. But we get a storyline with she meets a brother who she never knew she had, and we see an evil clone of her dead mother. There's all this weird stuff going on. She had like this new black and red suit that was very divisive among the fandom. This issue takes her back to basics. She's in her original red and yellow black suit thing. She's going around fighting crime, doing that, just having a good time. She's dating a guy named Roger, and and so they're at dinner, and like some it's an attack happens, so she has to like leave the dinner, and Roger's like, okay, well let me help you and all this kind of stuff like that. And she's like, no, I got it. Go home. Make sure Jerry's safe. Jerry's her son. She's like, make sure Jerry's okay. Like I got this. I do this. Blah blah blah. She's feeling good. At the end, when she gets back to the apartment, Roger's trying to talk to her, but she's kind of like, oh, I gotta go to bed. I'm tired. I had to do all this stuff. I got a big day next week. Find out he has a wedding ring. It looks like he was about to propose to her.
Oh.
And the issue ends. So very enjoyable. I mean, it was a lot more enjoyable than I have thought the series was beforehand. Again, like I understand why Jess was kind of going through some of the issues she did before. It just wasn't enjoyable. I think now it's getting to a point where it's a little bit more enjoyable. This feels more like the Jess that I like to read about, and I'm interested to see, like, the relationship with her and Roger has been like built up for the last couple of Spider-Woman runs, so it's very interesting.
Oh, okay. This isn't like a random proposal.
No. Okay. He's been around since Dennis Hopeless was on the book.
Oh wow. Okay. Since she was pregnant.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think a little bit after she got pregnant. So what? Because he was actually like a villain, and then he's like villain, and then he like turned on a new leaf, and then he was kind of being her babysitter for a while. And then slowly but surely the relationship built up, and now they're together. Now he wants to propose. It's cute. No Carol in this issue though.
That's okay.
But 3.5 out of 5 for this one again. Back to basics approach for Spider-Woman. I think if you're interested in the Spider-Woman, this is something you should pick up. I'd even say go back and pick up the like the beginning half of the run, the first few issues, just because to see it. It's not a bad book. Again, I just wasn't interested in the story of just yelling at somebody every 5 seconds. It was a bit much. And speaking of Carol, next up on our list is Captain Marvel 28 from Kelly Thompson.
Yes. See, I didn't need Carol in there because she got her own book. and I won't even be long with this one because this run to me has been her best she's ever had, easily. And if she gets to 50, it'll be her longest run. Yeah. And again, I think because Kelly Thompson just has a really great handle on her voice. Like she really gets Carol, and she isn't afraid of putting Carol through things. I don't know if anybody's followed me and seen me like tweet about Captain Marvel or whatever, but I'm pretty critical about her because she's one of my favorite characters. She's in my top 10 for sure. But they have always really rested on her name once she got to be Captain Marvel and just telling us like, oh, she's this premier superhero, Captain Marvel. And it's like, okay, well, what does that mean for her? And they would never go anywhere. And they would just have all these like girl boss moments of her talking about feminism, and that would not be enough. Like you can't rest on that. But this series, in my opinion, has really like pushed Carol, and you see who Carol is, and you know that she's stubborn, but like you get that because that's just a part of the character. It's not frustrating because it's who she is. You expect her to really kind of push through. And so this arc is starting with her magic arc. So she wants to learn about magic. In the previous arc, she was dealing with this villain Ove, who is the son of Namor and Amora from a possible future. He made it into our like current timeline, and it's just like out in the world. Right. She wants to figure out how to stop him. She's been having nightmares about like this future where she loses, and she's like, I need to learn magic basically to like defeat him. So she goes to Doctor Strange first because she's like, obviously like that's Sorcerer Supreme on Earth. I need to go to him if I'm gonna learn something. Yeah. So she goes to him, and Spider-Woman makes a cameo in this actually. and they're like talking, and she's like, I'm gonna go talk to Doctor Strange, and she's like, why do you want to talk to him? And she's like, is it because y'all hooked up? And she figures out that they like just hooked up like in the previous issue, and she's making the situation a little awkward for them, and she's like, okay, we're gonna talk about this later. Spider-Woman leaves, and Carol is like, I need to learn magic. Doctor Strange basically says no. And she's like, no, I really need to learn this because like, oh, and she tells him the whole story, and he's like, no, you have no affinity for magic, and it takes years to learn magic. You can't just learn this overnight and go off and fight this person that you're trying to go and fight. And he says, you are someone who is extremely powerful, and we know that magic is your weakness. You should have weaknesses. Someone as powerful as you needs to have weaknesses, which makes a lot of sense. So I appreciated in this book, this wasn't going to be something of like Carol becoming, going Super Saiyan and
because she doesn't need magic
powers. No. But I like the look into it about magic or whatever. And he pretty much takes her to this place where she can kind of like, he makes her think that she's doing things with magic, but really it's just an illusion that he has her going in her head. And he's like, I'm not teaching you it. So she goes around and asks pretty much every magic user in Marvel, Wiccan, Pixie, and all of them say no.
Oh, the team is showing up in this issue. I might need to go pick it up then.
Dr. Voodoo shows up, Scarlet Witch, Talisman, Magic.
Okay, Talisman.
Really went to everybody, and every single one of them said no. And except then it ends with her going to the final magic person, Amora, and she goes to Enchantress, and she's like, I need your help. Let's make a deal. So
not Kelly trying to put me on the Captain Marvel train. What?
Yeah, and I think the next book is going to be the next arc is going to be like them working together or something, and probably Amora bullying Carol.
I feel like Kelly's like reading my speech or something.
A lot in this.
I was about to say, because you said she was like the villain of the other arc where she was in that future with she's mom. Now she's here. So what you're telling me
was in the arc, the War of the Realms tie-in back in issues like I think 7 or 10 or something like that. It was early on. That whole thing.
Kelly wants to write an Enchantress book, is what you're telling me. I think
so. Yeah.
That's what we need to start.
Really great Enchantress too.
That's what we need to start putting the money on right there. Kelly on Enchantress. I'm here for that. Okay. What would you rate this issue?
I would give this issue a 3.5 out of 5 for sure.
Okay.
Great issue. They got a new artist, and I enjoy their work. I do obviously always am going to miss Carmen Canero on the interiors of the art, but I enjoy it.
Okay.
Great issue.
I'm into that. Is there anything that you feel as though, like, you're a Carol fan, so you're always kind of looking for stuff in her. Do you feel like Kelly is kind of hitting on aspects of Carol's personality that you've always wanted to see, or is she just taking her in places that you didn't imagine, but you're still just enjoying it?
I would say a little bit of both. She's definitely been hitting on, I've always wanted to see more of her determination and stuff shining through, and not just being told that she's this great hero, but her actually explaining that she wants to do well and she wants to try to do the best that she can. The one thing that you can always count on Carol to do is push through. Whether that's because she's super stubborn or because she is super powerful, she's going to really like push through some kind of challenge and think things through in her own way. And you really get inside of the head of Carol with her inner monologues and stuff in this series. Whereas before you weren't getting a lot of that. It was just, look at this cool splash page of her punching something,
Okay.
And then on top of that, the stories are going in new places that I would have never thought to take her, because I've always known that her weakness was magic. I would have never expected to her to go down a route of her trying to learn it, and it obviously going to blow up in her face, because that's just not what's going to happen for her. And it'd be like an introspection of like, you can't attain like perfection it's okay to be like a little messed up or whatever. So
Okay.
I think that's great.
Interesting. All right. Okay,
This
Carol,
has been
getting
a
the deep dive. Deep dive. I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Well, I love that. I'm here for that for you.
No, my faves mostly don't always be in great
Yeah,
books.
you know, I mean, I'm feeling some of that right now, so I feel that. But so next up on our list is Eternals #4. This is from Kieran Gillen, Issa Ribic, and Matt Wilson on colors. Now, I love Matt Wilson. He is like the guy for colors. Like him and Matt Hollingsworth are probably two of my favorite colors, and Jordi Valera. They're like some of my favorite colors in the biz. So it's like reading this issue, I was like just blown away by the sense of mood that he evokes.
I'll throw him in there for me.
Oh my, yeah, he's great too. He is really. I've actually got like a note in my phone that's full of colors that I just really really enjoy. So and like he just like really helps elevate Ribic's art, which has a great sense of mood. It feels like I'm reading a movie a little bit.
Right? Yeah.
It's like cinematography on the page. So I'm like really excited about that. The art is just yeah. The writing matches. Kieran is like everything. I'm an Eternals fan. I never been an Eternals fan.
I was gonna ask if we're ready to say, because I think that like I am ready to say
I
am an Eternals fan now.
Like
go ahead and sign me up.
It's just
I'm
feels
here.
so fresh. It feels so new. It feels so. And again, maybe it's just because I don't know anything about the Eternals, but like I love everything that I'm reading about them, like the machinations of the group, Cersei and her kind of bluntness, Kingo and just Kingo and just kind of like how he's playing to a type because he's this actor, Thena and her pragmatism. Thanos is like scary for one.
Yes.
I can't tell you the last time I actually like genuinely feared seeing Thanos in a comic book in forever. So I was just like,
Kingo is my favorite one. Is that his name? The one that says that he's like a ninja.
He's amazing. Kingo, Phastos, and Cersei are my top 3.
Okay, I think mine are Kingo, Icarus, and Cersei.
Like Icarus with I knew it was coming before you even said it. I was just like, he's about to say Icarus. That's fine. That tracks. I also enjoy Sprite. Sprite's funny. Sprite's really good comedic relief. I just think all these Eternals are so interesting. This issue is a 4 out of 5 for me. No, it's a 5 out of 5 for me actually.
I was gonna say I think Eternals might be my pick of the week.
Yeah, it was bomb. This is a great issue. Everyone should go read it. I don't even know like how to explain it anymore. I think just the history that we're learning of the Eternals and kind of like their resurrection process and like someone's killing gods, all of the mystery, like it's good. Go and read it.
Yeah. I thought that scene with Thanos saying against the telepath, I can't think of that Eternal's name, the one who everyone assumes is the traitor, and we actually learn. I won't spoil the ending, but we learn more about him. And what was his name?
Druig.
Druig, I think. Yeah. That scene when he was like in that telepathic room with Thanos, and Druig was like, "Oh, I'm like calling for more Eternals. You can't possibly think that you could take on all of them." And Thanos was like, "I've defeated death and wiped out half of the universe. Of course, I think I can take on a bunch of Eternals."
Like everything. I love it. I love it. I just loved it. I'm very excited. I'm definitely in this book for the long haul.
Yeah, for sure.
So
I added that to my list.
Okay. So next up on our list we got X-Force 19 from Benjamin Percy. Now I did not read this. I have not been on the X-Force train for a while. How are you feeling about this book?
Okay. Okay. I have thoughts about this book, and they are that the writing is fine, right?
Okay.
The art was terrible.
Oh no!
I'm sorry.
Is Kassara still not on the art?
He is not. No, the artist for this was Gary Brown. I think that's how you pronounce the name. And it was.
I'm trying to think. Do I know? I feel like I've seen something with Gary Brown's art. If it's the same person I'm thinking of, and I feel like I've liked it in the past.
Well, maybe I'll show you some pages of this.
Yeah, show me some pages. Show me some pages.
It's not good. But this is again following more about the arc of more self-discovery with Quentin Quire and everything with him going on. Supposedly he's got this like there was this like psychic vampire thing or that was attacking on Krakoa, which has been a running theme I feel like in a lot of these books. There's some like thing in the background that is attacking everyone on the island.
Like kind of haunting them a little bit. Oh, that's true actually now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah. A lot of these has some plot point where something is creeping in the background.
Yeah.
I don't know if they connect all with each other. Who knows? But it doesn't seem that way yet. And in this issue, you learn that the people who had been like taking pieces of Domino's body in the beginning. I don't know if you were on in the book earlier, but like they were taking pieces of Domino. Well, someone else has been taking body parts of Quentin Quire because he's been dying all this whole run.
Yeah.
Someone's been taking those body parts and they like made their own Quentin Quire, and that is what has been attacking all of them. And he's basically had to go into the mindscape with the assistance of Jean. Jean taught Quentin and I always get her name wrong. I forget which cuckoo is supposed to be Phoebe that he's dating. She taught them like these tricks of how to navigate the astral plane and like attack on it and stuff. It was kind of cool if you're really into the telepaths and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. So I will say the issue overall was all right. The art was not very good. This has been some great stuff if you're really interested in Quentin Quire, but for me, I joined this book for the team. I wanted to see more of like the team together and like their dynamic with each other instead of like specific character arcs. But it's nice that Quentin is finally getting one because I don't think he's ever really had too much of his like backstory kind of told here and more of his like personality. So anytime that he is acting nicer or different than he was before, they kind of chalk it up to, oh, he's trying something different. Phoebe even says in the book, like, oh, you're like being really, Gina's like, oh, you're being really different. And Phoebe's like, let's be nice to him. He's like trying something different. So we're kind of getting a new Quentin Quire, basically.
Do you enjoy this new Quentin Quire?
I don't care.
Okay.
Honest with you there, I don't care. So he's just Quentin Quire to me. Like, I get it. You're an Omega level telepath. Fantastic. I'm ready to get more into like the wet works and stuff of the X-Force and the dynamic of the team and how they were dealing with Krakoa. The one thing about this book, if I'm not really into the team in these X books, I'm usually in it so that I can be convinced that I can like the character, or at least like learn more about Krakoa. So give me more Krakoa if I don't like the character.
Basically, what you're saying is you just want more Krakoa. Okay. What would you rate this one?
I would give this a 2.5 out of 5.
A 2.5 out of 5. Okay. All right. That's a book. All right. So moving on, a new book this week, Way of X #1. Speaking of Krakoa, one that's very exciting. This comes from Simon Spurrier and Bob Quinn with colors from Java Tartaglia. Now, I like this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that. I don't like that little response you just gave me. You didn't like this? I thought this was great.
It's not. I didn't dislike it. I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was amazing. I thought it was okay. Yeah.
Okay.
It was just okay. The interior art for me was just okay.
I will say
it ranged from okay to not being good.
I will say that the art probably for me was the lowest point. You know, Bob Quinn's.
Mhm.
I feel like Bob Quinn's style doesn't really equal, I guess, the heaviness of what the narrative is trying to push in
Yes.
certain points. So a lot of the conversations. So basically, the issue follows Kurt, and he's kind of dealing with all his own little qualms about Krakoa and the Crucible, and we kind of start to look at the Crucible in a different way than we did from X-Men 7, however long ago when we had Apocalypse fighting Arrow so she could get her mutant powers back. Now we're kind of seeing it in more of a negative light, and it looks more just like murder, than, which it kind of always was. But I guess now instead of having like the hype and beauty of the resurrection process, we're really just looking at like what's actually happening. Is that it's like someone is being murdered in our face, and we have like this random new mutant who comes to find Kurt, and
And
you know they're
celebrate it too. I feel like that is
yeah
like the big thing that is an issue is that we're celebrating someone watching someone get murdered.
yes very very old school gladiator things here. But we see that Kurt, the mutant who was coming up to Kurt trying to ask for help, kept telling him, "I'm lost, I'm lost, I'm lost." This mutant was actually in this Crucible match and was being attacked by Magneto, and we kind of see Kurt jump out there to try and save them, but the mutant like stands up anyway. Then Magneto like kills them, and they get their powers back and all this stuff like that. It's a nice moment again to show the differences of the Crucible. We're no longer looking at it as something positive and something happy to be celebrated. We are really just looking at it from the nitty gritty of this is kind of bad. This is hurting someone. This is like being celebrated. We're like celebrating somebody's torture. And it's like, is that really okay? And what does that do? Then we also have the background story going. um, the kids on Krakoa have been talking about someone called the Patchwork Man, who is apparently like giving kids nightmares, and he's like infiltrating dreams, and he's trying to make people do all these bad things. We come to find out that it looks like the Patchwork Man is none other than Legion, who I love. I
Are you a
love.
Legion fan?
I am.
I didn't know that.
I am.
Okay.
It's very quiet because I feel like he does. I mean, it's Legion.
You don't do too much, yeah.
He don't do something. He comes in to be crazy and like go about his day and try and ruin Professor Xavier's life, but whatever. But I think a lot of things that we've had for him. I really like the original Legion Quest story,
Mm,
especially when
yeah.
like Bishop, Storm, Bobby, and Betsy went in the past to try and find him as well. Where that led to the Age of Apocalypse as we know it. And I really loved what Simon Spurrier did with Legion during his X-Men Legacy run. If you've never read that, I highly recommend it. Like go on Marvel Unlimited or something, pick it up. It's a really great read. He did a lot of good stuff with Legion and Blindfold, actually, who we get a little bit of in this book as well. We see that Kurt is at Blindfold's grave, and we actually have Legion kind of like revealing himself to Kurt and talking about she was a precog. What could she have seen that made her want to kill herself?
Hmm.
And then we also start kind of getting into the shadiness of Krakoa, and it's like doesn't Krakoa kind of have this unwritten rule that the precogs can't be up or they can't be resurrected? And it's like, why is that? Why don't you want people there who can see the truth and see the future? So I like what Simon Spurrier is doing with a lot of this book and the questions that he's raising and the implications of it, philosophical, societal, all that. I'm into it.
Mm. Yeah, I don't know. For me, it just felt like it was just okay as far as the questioning and stuff there. I appreciated what he was saying. I like the Legion portions of it better when Legion started to come into it and ask about the precogs, then it got a little bit better to me.
Mhm.
I liked the way Magneto was portrayed in this. Magneto's top 5 for me, so like I was looking out for that, and that was great. I will say, as fantastic as I enjoy Exodus's um, campfire moments, I wish that he was finally in an ongoing. Like, I put my boy in a book.
I wonder what they're
And
waiting for him.
yeah, I have no idea. I would love to see him in something though, because I love him. So I would give him more stuff than just
I could
bringing
see
up the
him.
Pretender.
I was about to say I could see him potentially playing a bigger role in this book. This kind of seems like the thing that's right up his alley, just in terms
Mm,
of like philosophy and like speeches and like leading and like right from wrong and kind of all that stuff. Like that is the I mean, you might be able to tell me a little bit better, but like that's always the vibe I've gotten from Exodus a little bit. That he's a very like philosophical character. I've actually always kind of had the dream that Kurt and Exodus would kind of replace Magneto and Charles as like the two head figures of
Oh
like
yeah.
we'll look up to, because I feel like they both kind of like ride those waves of ideology.
Yeah. Exodus is very philosophical in his demeanor, in the way that he talks about things, and it's very, I don't know, he has an air about it, a very specific kind of flair with the way that he talks about mutant kind and everything like that, and not necessarily religious. Obviously, his name is Exodus, so there's some of that there, but I think that that's more in the definition of it being, a mass exodus of like leading a people versus it actually relating to any kind of religion. So I think that he would probably be the opposition to a Nightcrawler in this. He was obviously for the Crucible,
Very much
and
so.
he was the one giving that fantastic other campfire to the kids about the heroes of Krakoa and how Magneto is the hero of Krakoa and everything. So if they emphasize that would be great. I just want that on an ongoing instead of just around a campfire.
Like I said, I feel like if there is any book that's going to do that, I feel like this is the one. So I'll cross my fingers for some Exodus. Again, like I said, I want.
That makes me think you know something.
I'll just say I will cross my fingers for some Kurt Exodus interaction, which is what I've always wanted.
Okay.
So I would rate this issue a 4 out of 5. I really, really enjoyed it. I love the narrative. I love the questions that we got to ask. I love kind of, again, the different side of the Crucible. The only reason I just don't really care too much for the art, again, I don't think it's the worst, but I don't think it's the right tone for this book.
I would give this a 3 out of 5.
Okay.
It was okay.
Okay, that's fine. All right, and last but certainly not least on our list, we have S.W.O.R.D number 5.
Certainly not least.
Skeety, and colors from Marte Gracia. Now, I don't know what you guys want me to say.
That's a dream team right there.
You already know what I'm going to say, actually. You already know what I'm going to say about this book. I loved it. So we get the resurrection of Cortez. And we knew from the previous issue with the King of Black tie-in, he wanted to kind of talk to Magneto about some stuff about like the second law of Krakoa and all that stuff, which is murder no human. And he basically gives this gigantic speech about why that's wrong and why they should be allowed to murder humans, because I guess Cortez just wants to go around killing some people. And he completely makes a fool of himself. And it was all due to Magneto. Magneto called the meeting. He made everybody show up. He's had them sit down and listen. But it wasn't because he actually wanted to hear what Cortez had to say. He just wanted him to make a fool of himself, and he wanted him to remember basically his place.
I love Magneto.
And so that entire scene was well done. And then on the side of it, we have Amelia Vaught, who is one of the S.W.O.R.D members. She is the teleporter for the team. She is teleporting someone around who is killing the royalty that's going on with the Snark War. So I'm not going to lie, I don't know too much about what's going on in the Snark War and this whole like intergalactic thing. I don't know if it's something I missed in one of the other cosmic books or...
You ain't missed much. It's just like a dumb war like that's going on that Ewing uses as like the cannon fodder.
That's happening. So we, that she's transporting someone around who's like killing these people, and then during the meeting of Cortez and Magneto, she teleports in with this person who we find out is actually one of the Arakko mutants, and they come in and they let them know that this mutant is actually going to be Cortez's replacement because Cortez can't be trusted, obviously, like we always do that. But that was like super exciting for me. One, we know I'm all about Arakko and the mutants of Arakko, and so it was like super exciting to actually see them. And then it's just like it looked beautiful.
It looked dope. She looked cool.
Like she was everything. Cora of the Burning Heart, I think it was Fireheart, something like that. Iconic.
I love the way that her powers work too, with like she is like this intense flame and like she can like share it and like boost your powers or whatever. I think that's really cool.
Like bomb. Like I love it. I love that the creativity of the Araco mutants is like continuing on, and I wonder if they've already got pretty
They
much
storm the scene when they come up.
and and I'm not even gonna lie, when I first read X of Swords, I was kind of like, I don't care about these Araco mutants, like they're not that exciting. And then I went back and reread the whole thing like as a whole, and I've reread it a couple of times since then. Araco is everything.
Yeah,
I want an Araco book so bad, and I love the designs that they're coming up for so many of these different Araki mutants, and it makes me wonder if they've already got a giant list and like creative batch of ones who they want to introduce over time, or if they're just making them up on the fly. I need to know. They need to let me know in the X Summit. I got some.
Oh, for real? Yeah, we need an invite because I got some notes.
I got some things to say.
But yeah, I mean, this book is fantastic. I give it a 4 out of 5.
I'm at damn near. This is also a 5 out of 5 for me. I loved everything about it. I especially loved when Magneto and Amelia started flirting with each other.
Oh, you mean Xavier and Amelia?
Yeah,
I thought that was really cute because it was like, oh.
he was like, oh, I love how it was just like he just said her name first. He's like, oh, Amelia. It's just like, I don't think you've had a conversation since you've been here. And she's just like, what's up?
And she was like, oh, if you're not too busy. And he was like, oh, I'm never too busy for you.
I kind of love Xavier. He's a dog, but that's my boy. He's great.
It's funny. I loved it a lot. I also really enjoyed the moment where they are again making a fool of Cortez, and Xavier is like, I'm sorry, Magneto is like, I've killed people. Like that's everybody know that I've done it. But those are things in the past, and right now we do have rules. And you've been sitting here talking about the problems that humans have, caused you or whatever, and things that have done to you. Tell me the things that they've done to you have been worse than what they've ever done to me. And I was like, all right.
That's a word. That's a word. You really have had some good Magneto moments this era. Like every Magneto moment has been good.
Yes. If there's one thing I can count on, at least for this Krakoa era, is that at least my Magneto stuff is getting good.
Yeah, that's gonna be it. That's it. That was good. It was a great issue. This was a great week for comic books in general, actually. Like even things that I didn't really like. I didn't love it. I still enjoyed it enough. Great week for comics. Love that. Love it.
Agreed.
So, with that, let's go ahead. Let's take a little break. We are back.
All right. Welcome back, everybody. We're going to have another rewatch this week, but this time we are going to come back for Invincible next week. This time we are going to talk about the new Mortal Kombat movie that just came out that was on HBO Max. And
in theaters and select places.
Yes.
If you are free of your national pandemic.
Right. If the restrictions allow you to go to a theater, then yes, you can see it in theaters. But it's a part of the deal where HBO Max put all of the movies that premiered in 2021 on HBO Max
to streaming.
And proving my point that they put all of the movies that aren't good up there for that, this movie lines up right along with that.
I liked it.
It was bad.
Let's get into it. So I enjoyed it. I will admit that it had a lot of problems. I think that they tried to put a lot of stuff in the movie that did not need to be in there. The entire character that Louis Tan played, Cole, should have been. I don't even understand the thought process of why he was in there to begin with. Like, he completely detracted from the story. It was completely unnecessary. And I think everything that he had, he also cannot act. And I think that everything that he had could have been given to either the other characters to flesh them out a little bit more, or just given more into the actual tournament, so we could have had an actual tournament. We spoke about this tournament the entire movie, and then they did all the
There
fighting
was
before
no
it actually
tournament.
happened. I was gonna say it happened, so it's just kind of like, what is that even doing for yourselves? And you know, not even like, not to give too much to Louis Tan, but I just don't care for him in general. I've seen him in a couple of things, and he was also in Iron Fist.
Right.
And
He was the one that back when Iron Fist was coming out, he was, even though he was in it, he
he
was a
was
part
trash
of like,
talking.
yeah, he
Like
would trash
it
talk
was
it a lot.
so first of all, so I remember this distinctly when it happened because I was like actually following Louis Tan at the time because I mean I'm really into martial arts, so I follow like a
Yeah.
lot of like guys who are stunt creators who do those type of things, and so he was one of
He's
those
like a
people.
legit, he's an actual martial
Yeah, he's a
artist.
fighter, and so I remember like when Iron Fist came out and how excited he was about it, and he was just like, oh yeah, this is a great show. Like, don't worry about the controversy and all this other kind of stuff, blah blah blah. But then I don't know, something happened, and somebody was like, oh, he should have been Iron Fist.
Twitter.
And
Twitter told
so
him he should have been it.
as soon as that happened, he did a complete 180 on that show, and he just like trashed it the entire time. And I'll never forget watching, and I was just like, oh wow, I was like, that's crazy that this is happening in like real time for me. And so then he's been on like, a couple of other things, and he's just always kind of had like a little bit of a bad attitude from what I saw online. So I ended up unfollowing him. So when I heard he was
Absolutely.
when I heard he was a part of this movie, I was genuinely was like not excited. I was like, oh, I don't think this is good.
Well,
I
yeah,
was
that's what
act-
gave it away.
I was actually kind of like, oh no, this is not going to be a good thing for this. And so again, once I started watching the movie, I enjoyed a lot of it, but I feel like every scene he was in dragged the movie down, and it could have been completely cut. And I just truly don't understand why he was there. I thought his whole I did like how they had the little Arcana thing to give them their like special abilities to like make sense of that. I thought that
I
was a
thought that
nice
that was
touch.
cool. Yeah, that was a
Um,
nice.
and it like it made sense so why Sonya is shooting like these little purple rings from her arm and all this stuff.
Yeah,
you know,
okay.
um,
It makes
but
sense of that.
I did not like Cole's Arcana like the
What was it?
and then he started making weapons. Like it was bad. Like everything about his
Yeah.
characters was just bad. And so it's like
Yeah.
I truly feel like if you take him out of the movie, you get something that is so much more enjoyable. I thought everything with
But he was the main character. That's how you know the movie is bad. You have to remove the main character
it's
from the
an
movie.
ensemble cast. The other people are there. They can do the things as well.
He he's
Uh,
supposed to be like the point of view character. That
and
means
it's
the
like, and it's also weird because we didn't see anything like really from his point of view.
no. We just got really bad shots that like stayed on his face far too long that
And
emphasized that he's a bad actor.
oh, so bad of an actor. And then he had the weakest fight scenes of the entire film. Like of the
Yes.
entire film, every scene, all of his, aside from the MMA fight where he was like getting beat up, and that's mainly because he was getting beat up and the other guy was putting in all the effort. But like anything other than that, he just was not hitting. I did really love Kano, the actor who played him. I feel like he was a great Kano. He was very obnoxious. You hated him. He was
Yeah.
rude. He was divisive. Like he was great.
He was
Uh,
good.
the actors who
Reptile
played,
was whack.
so I wanted him to like change into a human form.
Yeah.
Like
They wanted him to actually be a fighter.
the fact that he stayed the lizard the entire fight, it was like, and I get it, like we've seen Reptile in his like lizard form in the games before, but it was just kind of like, show me a green suit. That's what I.
I've
Show me
never
that-
understood why so many different like creators and the studios that back them want to like give their interpretations of things instead of the version that people know. Like if we wanted your version of it, we just ask you to create that thing. People want what they know, so give them what they know.
Like, just show me Reptile. Like, stop. That's what I came here to see. But that's one thing I did like a lot of the little Easter eggs that they put in for the movies. Even though we didn't see a lot of the cast, which I really do kind of wonder what the thought process was behind, like the characters who we picked and we got to see. I didn't mind the whole thing. Obviously we get our basics of Liu Kang, Sonya, Jax, but then just like on the other side of things, like Melina, Natara.
Like why?
And Natara got a bad
What
showing.
happened to Tara in this?
She got a bad showing also.
She didn't do anything.
Exactly. Like we literally watched her fly into a hat. Like she got a really bad showing. I felt kind of bad for her. So I just wonder what. But again, I like what they were trying to
get
do.
into a movie before Katana.
They had Katana's fan at least, you know,
to
let us know she's there. To let us know she was there. But again, but again, that's my thing. And you know, I'm a Katana stan. Like that's my girl. So I wanted to see her very much so. But I'm also kind of
I'm a Jade stan.
I'm also kind of okay with the fact that she didn't show up in this.
Same, yeah. I'm glad my favorite didn't show up in this because
And then again, and I enjoyed the movie for the most part. I think a lot of what they tried to do with the story, you can tell that they were trying to put a lot of stuff in there to not only build on to a sequel, but to build onto like other franchises as well. You can tell they want maybe like a show or two from this, maybe like a couple of miniseries here and there. The only thing I honestly want is something about the Lin Kuei.
Well, yeah.
They're giving it. Let's circle back. Let's actually talk about Bi-Han and Hanzo. Talk about two guys who are perfectly cast. They knocked out. Like Scorpion and Sub-Zero did that. That very first fight scene with the Lin Kuei attacked the Shiryu camp and he was killing everybody and they had that fight. Everything.
I'm not sure if you've ever seen the Mortal Kombat Scorpion's Revenge animated movie, but this is the same kind of opening. Like I just watched it for the first time recently, yeah. And it's also on HBO Max. So I was like, let me watch this. You know, I love animations, and I will say like the fights in that are giving. The animation in it is giving. Animation, and I had a feeling, right? I really do think it's my preferred like form of this stuff, and I had a feeling that maybe they were going to like do this in live action because the story in that feels a little bit more grounded because you're like following Scorpion and stuff like that. But literally they have the same kind of opening for these. So that was really cool to see.
Okay, that's cool. I looked that up too. And that's another thing too. It's like
except the difference there is to further prove your point, in the live action one, they have that baby. In the animated version, there was no baby, aka there was no Cole.
There was no Cole. Like we did not need Cole. Like literally, 75% of the movie's problems would be erased if we got rid of Cole. Like yes. I'm 100% sure about that.
I was not expecting that baby to even like be involved in this at all.
First of all, the whole thing with the baby was weird anyway, because you got this baby who like will not shut up. It will not stop screaming. But then as soon as people start getting killed, it's quiet as a mouse.
It's quiet, yeah.
But then once everybody's dead, he starts screaming again.
It doesn't make any sense.
No. The Cole was dumb. I really want to talk to whoever was in charge of the story so we can be like, what was the problem with the hundreds of other Mortal Kombat characters that already exist?
like you could have pulled anybody else.
Like really, literally, you could use like Stryker. And the exact same kind of like storyline is like the human guy who like gets pulled in. And that's one thing I will say. I kind of liked how they did the champions thing, that they just all had the marks on them already. I thought that alleviated a lot of issues for us in like getting these people together if we already know that like we're looking for these specific ones. I do.
Yeah, but I didn't like that only the girl didn't have one.
I was about to say, I do not like that Sonya didn't have one, despite being the one who like kind of discovered what it was all about.
Like, what the hell?
But I also don't really like Sonya Blade, so it was like, whatever. That's fine.
I mean, fair. I get it, yeah.
We needed some Katana and some Jade in here to kind of like offset the ladies who we got.
Yeah. There were no ladies. There was one. There was only Sonya.
Melina was there. Maluzer.
She was kind of there.
I wonder if they get a sequel and they do bring Katana in, since Melina and Katana are supposed to be, since Melina's a clone of Katana, I wonder if they'll use the same actress for her.
I wondered that too. But then that made me wonder if they would they cast someone else for it, or?
Because my thing is also like, Katana's very much an Asian woman. So.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But I don't make Katana black because Melina's definitely black.
Yeah, so it's a lot of questions. I don't know. We'll see. That's if they do the sequel. We won't know yet. We won't know yet. I hope they do. But if they do, they need to cut Cole out. We need to get rid of Cole. He is the weakest link. He cannot. Also,
go ahead.
And his fight with Goro. So, I'm again, this is why I say like all his fight scenes were the worst because it's like that fight scene did not make any sense. The girl has 4 arms, 6, however many arms girl has, and he is like pounding into you. And this man is very strong, and he is very big, and you are very small and very human. How is your head not getting smashed open? He's talking about I'm about to rip you to shreds. Why are you telling him he's gonna rip you or you're gonna rip him? Just rip him.
Right.
Just do it. What do you mean? But Goro looked good. He looked great.
The CGI on the Goro didn't look that bad, I guess. The blood, I will say, in this movie, I couldn't tell if it was done on purpose because it looked so cartoony the way that it like came out. I wasn't sure if they were just like it was just a video game nod.
I think that I'm gonna assume so. I would hope so.
I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt there. I will say that I did enjoy all of the like video game nod moments. I loved the continuous sweep kick that he was doing that Liu Kang was doing to Kano. He was like, is that the only move you're gonna know how to do? I thought that was really cool. That was cute. When even the moment with Cole and he was fighting Goro and his daughter, which I don't know why he needed a daughter, but his daughter like
that was just
was like, hey, don't forget your uppercut. I thought that was kind of like a cool moment.
The whole Cole family thing, because it also he felt too young to have like
right. And that girl like she was like 15.
Yeah. So when they like first got on scene together, I thought it was maybe like a little sister or something like that. But then her mom came up, and then they started kissing. So I was like, oh, maybe this is like an adopted daughter or something like that. But I was like, oh no, I think they're trying to say that like this is his family. It just was odd. Everything with Cole was odd.
Or maybe she was supposed to be is she the bloodline that, Scorpion said he needed to protect?
So that's also that's where I thought they were going to kind of go with it, or what they were trying to do with it. But again, I just kind of want to get rid of Cole. I don't even want to think about it. Like, sequel, he's dead. That's what should happen.
I will say that I enjoyed the Scorpion versus Sub-Zero fight. That was probably where all the budget went into.
Most definitely.
The ice wall that Sub-Zero made was really cool. I thought that it was really slick when Scorpion, used his throw move and pulled that sword and caught it and all that. I thought that was really cool. So that fight was dope. I'll give them that.
Both of theirs were really good. I really liked the final fight between Kano and Sonya.
Oh, her girl boss fight when she
when she got her little mark and she did.
Yay! It's like yay! You beat the man.
Yeah, I thought that was nice. That was fun for her, and but I always love a good Kano Sonya feud.
Yeah. See, that to me felt like again it was one of those things where they realized that certain moments had to happen. So instead of writing a competent story to get you to those moments, they just kind of threw those things in there because
so that's
like
one
at
thing
the end it was like, oh my gosh, we're all in this, or like towards the end they were like, oh, we're all in this random white void space that he put us in, and we're going to put everybody off into your own matches. It would have made sense, like Sonya suggested, for her to go fight Melina because that would be a rematch, but it wasn't written that way, and we needed to have the Kano fight, so she got to go fight Kano.
So I will say that one thing that I wish the movie would have done a little bit more is relied on thinking that the audience already had a prior knowledge of Mortal Kombat. Like, no matter what kind of moviegoer you are, who you are, I feel like if you're watching a Mortal Kombat movie, you have some type of general knowledge about Mortal Kombat, whether it's the game or you saw one of the previous movies. So I feel like a lot of things that we already know, Kano versus Sonya, Liu Kang makes a fire dragon, Kung Lao being Kung Lao, certain things like that didn't really need to be explained as much, and they could have just done it, and we just would have been like, oh, okay, that's fine. And again, there was definitely some editing issues and some pacing issues for the film that could have helped. Again, I think a lot of that was Cole's fault.
They have bad writing.
There were some bad writing. There were some choices. They were trying to fit a lot in. and you can tell that they were trying to fit a lot in. And again, like I said, you can tell that they want some type of franchise spin-off potential here with all the different origin stories and like places you could go, and then we still got to get a tournament. We got to find other champions now. Like they want to do a whole thing, and it's like we didn't have to work so hard to get there.
The costume choices, in my opinion, were also bad. The costume designs were not very well done. Scorpion's costume was not very well done. The moment when Sub-Zero took his mask off and it was supposed to be metal, but it was rubber bouncing on the ground in slow-mo was bad.
Oh, was that what that was supposed to be?
Yes. It was bad. Like, again, I feel like why not make his costume look more blue? Why not make Scorpion's costume, give him more of that yellow design? Why not give the people what they kind of are looking for instead of giving this like cheap, like it was giving fan film for me.
I mean, I didn't mind the costumes of Sub-Zero and Scorpion. I thought they were fine. Honestly, everyone else, I did not even pay attention to their costumes. I didn't like Shang Tsung's, and I didn't like Raiden. I do remember that.
Shang Tsung's wig.
Yeah, that was not given. Like, that wasn't given at all. That was really upsetting. I didn't like that. I didn't like the guy who played Raiden. I didn't mind the fact that he was kind of like an asshole, because I think Raiden should be an asshole. But everything else about his personality, I wasn't really that into.
I noticed like I said, kind of the bad editing choices that they had, where the whole scene when they finally got the team together and they're going to go talk up with Raiden, and they're like in Raiden's like room or whatever. Mm-hmm. Cole and Raiden are having this conversation, and Louis Tan, I think, is like 6'3". Whoever was playing Raiden is like 5'9". but they would have scenes where Louis Tan was looking up at Raiden, but then it would switch and Raiden would be looking up at Louis Tan, because Louis Tan's obviously like taller than him. So like they weren't picking like very good scenes.
I will say though that I hated that entire scene with like Raiden and Louis Tan talking about, and he was telling him like, oh, you're the descendant of one of the greatest ninjas to ever exist and blah blah blah. And because Louis Tan was having such a visceral reaction to that, and it's just like, why would you even care? Like, it was just like, this is so bad. Like, why are you trying to make me feel like this is something you actually care about when it's like not anything you should have? But
and why I didn't like why the camera like decided to focus on his face during that, because his facial expressions were not very good.
He feels like he could have been in the Snyderverse.
Yeah, that seems right.
Yeah, that's the type of place he should be at. Or I still have fun. No, he's not. The CW is a little better than him.
You think so?
Oh yeah, the CW has some actors. Okay, I can't think of their names right now. But they've got some actors on their roster. I'm sure of it.
If you say so, because from what I've seen, it don't be given.
What shows are on the CW right now?
Arrow still on, or that got canceled?
That's
Flash. Legends of Tomorrow. That show is terrible.
What do you think about Legends of Tomorrow? They say it's fun. I've actually heard good things about all of the CW shows, to be perfectly honest. Like, I've always heard, obviously the budget is not there, but I've heard I've heard that the shows are very enjoyable, and they feel very much like comic book films. This new Superman and Lois show, I heard nothing but rave reviews about it.
The CW's content always gives me, like, be happy that they're on screen. Just be excited to see them on screen.
I watched Arrow. I watched maybe like the first 3 seasons of Arrow.
Me too. It was all right.
I liked it. I didn't watch after that though.
It got real bad after that. The first 3 seasons were good, and then it got real bad after that.
There's a CW show I like. I'm pretty sure.
Think about it and come back on that. And I will have to see if it's as good or worse than Mortal Kombat, because right now Mortal Kombat is not good. What would you rate this movie?
Oh. Well, that's such a tricky question, because it's like there's just so many different facets of this movie. I don't even know where to start rating it from. Like, am I rating from the movie that's featured Louis Tan? Am I rating from the movie I imagine in my head that doesn't have Louis Tan? Am I? But what's my scale? It's like 5, 10, 15?
This is on a scale from 1 to 10.
1 to 10.
Mm-hmm.
I would give it a 6.
Okay.
I enjoy it because I enjoy it. It's an ambitious film. It makes a lot of mistakes, but I do appreciate some of the things that they did. I really enjoyed the whole like Arcana thing. I enjoyed a lot of the fight scenes. I enjoyed most of the characters, like Kano, Cabal, Hanzo, Bihan, stellar. Like they definitely stand out in my mind. I would be excited to watch more Mortal Kombat content in this universe, just probably not from the same writing team.
Now, where would you place Mortal Kombat? This is more of a deeper question for you. Where would you place Mortal Kombat compared to Wonder Woman 1984?
Oh no, I would definitely watch Mortal Kombat before I watch Wonder Woman 1984.
Wow.
150%.
Wow. Okay.
I actually watched Mortal Kombat twice.
Oh damn.
I
Okay.
watched it in the morning when I woke up, and then I watched it again at night just to like see how I felt about it the second time. And plus, the movie experience, I wanted the darkness around. I would never watch Wonder Woman 84 again. Like never. I didn't like. I can at least say that there were things about this Mortal Kombat film I enjoyed, whether it be from the Arcana stuff to some of the fights to a few of the effects, to Kano and Cabal and their like whole back and forth when Kano was like locked up. There is nothing I enjoyed about Wonder Woman 1984. I actually like I hate it. Like when I think about the movie, I think about that scene where they were fighting in the White House. And Cheetah like had just beat Diana up, and Diana is like laying there on the ground in this like bent neck position talking to Cheetah, and it's just like even in the real world, if you had just got beaten up, you're gonna move out of that position. Like even if it hurts or you're struggling or you're beaten and battered, like you're gonna make some type of movement to like not be sitting there with your neck on your shoulder. There was just nothing.
That movie also had it where Cheetah like died in or like got hurt in the water.
Of the gold armor. What
it
was
had
the point of
to
it?
sell toys. That's the only thing I could think of. It served no purpose.
Like, no, that was not a good movie. And no. Nah, not at all. The fights weren't even fights. She didn't even fight.
She didn't. No, she
Like
didn't.
at least in Mortal Kombat, like Bihan and Hanzo were throwing hands. Sub-Zero like completely obliterated Jax. Kano and Sonya were trying to do something. Kung Lao gave you a couple of good moves here and there with his hat throw and his teleportation. All
Now,
right.
okay, I will give it to Kung Lao. I did like him in this
Everything.
movie.
Everything.
I did like him in this. He was
Everything.
cool. Although I thought his death was dumb.
His death was awful.
It didn't make any sense.
But it's also kind of one of those things where it's like that's how Kung Lao gets treated anyway. It's like it's just he's the most disrespected character in Mortal Kombat history. Okay, they always make him go out like a chump. Even who was it? No, it was Kung Lao. Like it was fun. Like I enjoyed a lot of things about Mortal Kombat, despite how bad it may or may not have been. Wonder Woman 1984, nothing.
Now, what about Mortal Kombat compared to a Guardians of the Galaxy 2?
Oh. Because I didn't like Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
I know.
Like which one would I watch over the other?
Yeah, or which would you think was better? The face.
I don't know. I think I would actually I'd say for now they're equal, only because it's been so long since I've seen Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I
Okay,
would say let me watch it again so I can make a better assessment of how I feel about it now. However, I don't actually think I'm ever going to watch Guardians of the Galaxy 2 again.
fair.
So I'll just say they're equal.
Okay. I understand that sentiment because I also did not like Guardians of the Galaxy 2. It's probably my like bottom tier.
Oh yeah, 2 and
Least
yeah,
favorite.
yeah, like definitely. And it really upset me because I really enjoyed the first one, and I expected to go into the first one not loving it at all. But I walked out the first Guardians movie like, oh, I am so excited for the future of the Guardians films, and then it just took a left.
Yeah, like Wonder Woman 1984.
Just bad. But
I would say,
maybe that means the inverse will happen for Mortal Kombat because the first one wasn't that great. So now the sequel, they'll realize like, oh, we made a bunch of mistakes. Let's fix
I don't know. There's a lot of
it.
That's a lot to fix. You may just have to start over.
That's fine.
I I would rate this movie um like a 3.5 or 4 out of
Wow,
10.
that's really low. And I knew you were going to say something around that number. I could just feel it coming. I could feel like that three rolling off your tongue. Um,
Yeah,
okay.
it was not very good. The
You wouldn't
cost
watch it again?
absolutely not. No.
Oh,
You know what? The reason that it is more of a 3.5, I guess, and maybe a 4, is because I can see myself pulling up the YouTube clips of the fight scenes just to watch them one more time to see if they were as bad as I thought they were. Because they are.
well,
But
I will
yeah,
be pulling them up to enjoy them all over again.
yeah. Okay. Well, let us know what y'all thought about Mortal Kombat, and we're gonna take a break, and then we will be right back.
Yeah. Also, if you guys have Mortal Kombat or you play Mortal Kombat and you're an Xbox user, you should totally let me know. We can exchange gamer tags and we can fight.
Oh yeah. If you are playing and you are on PlayStation side, I've got it. So play with me. I am a Jade main, by the way, y'all. So yes.
And I am Katana. I don't think either one of those things are shocking for us either.
I know it's not.
Yeah.
That's
All right, let's take us a break. And we are back for another rewatch of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, or Captain America and the Winter Soldier, depending on. That's a spoiler, sorry, but I hope you've watched it by now. But we have the episodes 5 and 6, 6 being the big finale of the series, and we finally come to the end of it. And I think we just actually got word, or like there's a rumor going around that there's now going to be a Captain America 4, starring none other than Sam Wilson, because he does officially become Captain America at the end
yes,
of the show.
yes.
He wears his suit with the wings and his everything.
I know you
It's
were living. I know you
fantastic.
were living.
I was getting my life. No, it was like I actually had like a moment when he popped up and he was flying around and he threw that shield and it just hit and I was just like, man, this is what I love to see. Like this is my favorite character. If there is one thing that I think this show has done a really good job of, it is like reminding me why I love Sam Wilson. He is very charismatic. He is very compassionate. He is aspirational in his own way. You kind of like look at him and not only do you want to be better, but it's like you kind of like want to do it to make sure that he thinks it and like he sees it and you know that, oh hey, I'm working this out. And I've been up and down on Anthony Mackie a little bit, but I think he really did a great job and he came to his own. He did some really great work in the scenes. I think the episode 6, especially when he gives like kind of like that final speech about the government and all that stuff and the double standards, that really hit home. So I'm very appreciative of the show for that. When it comes to the two episodes themselves, I will say I enjoyed episode 5 a lot more than I actually enjoyed the finale. I think
Oh,
episode
really?
5 was probably the strongest. Yeah, I actually think episode 5 was the strongest of the entire series. I think that's the one where it really came together. I especially love the scenes with like Bucky and Sam and Sarah and they're like working on the boat. I did think some of that lasted a little bit too long, but just kind of like the way that bond grew, you really got a deeper look into the characters, the complexities of everything that was going on. Great character work. Seeing the Dora Milaje again, they're just everything.
And Bucky
Um, have
definitely saw what he saw a little something he liked.
Bucky was like, "What's up?" And Sarah was ready to have her white boy summer, for
She
sure. Like, for sure.
it was good. She was thinking about it for sure.
She was ready to do that. So I really did enjoy that. I think episode 6 also was strong, but I do feel as though it had a lot of the issues that I felt where we had earlier in the series, where some of the dialogue was a little wonky here and there. Again, we made the comment that sometimes it felt like the show was trying to be a part of the MCU rather than like acting like it actually already was, what it already is. And so I felt like some of that came through. I think some of the editing of the actual episode of 6 of like the fight scenes back and forth between like Sam and the folks he was fighting, Bucky and like John and the not the Power Brokers, the Flag Smashers and things like that, it made the tonal shift a little jarring sometimes. Excuse me, and it was just like going back and forth a little too much. But I will say I did enjoy a lot of the final fights. I think that John Walker did a great job in making you hate him. I won't say too much about his story, like how I felt about him as a whole, because obviously there's more coming with him. As we saw, he was gifted a new suit and named U.S. agent. And the biggest shocker of episode 5, Julia Louis-Dreyfus is a part of the MCU.
Come on, Elaine.
Okay, baby, when I tell you she popped up on my screen, I actually like paused my TV and like just started screaming.
Yeah, I was like, what?
I was like, oh my gosh. So that was like super amazing to see. I was blown away by that. I'm very excited about that. She's actually like a really great character who I enjoy.
I don't know much about the character outside of doing some little like Google searches and stuff. I saw that she was a Madam Hydra stuff, and I told you I don't really read a lot of the.
I don't worry. I already have a character playing.
Okay, good.
So we'll learn a little bit more about that then. But yeah, so episode 6. I will say, so in this series we find out that the power broker is Sharon Carter. I will say I did not enjoy that reveal at all. And I honestly don't think it makes sense, because wasn't she supposed to be blipped?
Was she?
She was. I'm pretty sure like we saw, or not we saw, but some of the directors or something gave interviews about how she was one of the characters who was like blipped away. And so it's like for her to have amassed all these resources and stuff during this time period where she shouldn't have existed doesn't really make sense to me. And
that's a quick turnaround for you to come back and then you took over Madripoor like that, or in Lowtown doing all that shady dealings and stuff. So
a lot of that doesn't make sense. So I did not enjoy that reveal at all. I also just don't enjoy the villainization of Sharon Carter. Like again, and I think we talked about previously how I was really excited for her relationship with Sam to be built up, because they're pretty close in the comics, and I was like, oh, I'm ready to see that like on screen. And kind of knowing that she's taking this shift, and it's like we might be going a different route with her, and like going in that Thunderbolt territory.
Do you think that that is them trying to give a nod to when she was the one who murdered Captain America in the comics?
Yes, that's exactly what I got from that.
Okay.
Like, okay. Away and like them showing this, and I was like, it's supposed to be like when she was brainwashed, she was doing bad things. Yeah. It's like I get it, I get why you want to see it, but it's like I just didn't want that yet. I feel like but even so, it's just I just feel like we haven't seen enough of Sharon as a whole, like to really get into her and like get into her mindset and like get to like her character and know her. And she got some cool moments here, but now we're already going like that way, and so it's like, okay, we could have had some fun first
and seen more of her personality before we shifted over to her being the villain.
Yeah, but do you think we're still headed down to the Thunderbolts?
I don't know yet anymore. I'm starting to believe it might be more Dark Avengers instead of Thunderbolts. I feel like those are probably one of the two routes that they pretty much are going to go towards with the MCU right now in this phase. And Originally I used to think Thunderbolts, but now I'm starting to think that they might go the Dark Avengers route, and I think that this might be the way that they introduce Osborn, because when Sharon Carter in the after credit scene in episode 6 talked on the phone, she said, "Oh, this will be great resources for you and the others." So like must be a part of some kind of cabal or something like that. So I don't know if there's multiple people on this and if any of them are, Osborn or something.
Yeah.
It's kind
Some
of
Illuminati.
yeah. I'm starting to think that they're building towards a Dark Avengers team, and they're going to be the ones who are like the Avengers, and they have to fight like the Avengers we know.
Okay. Yeah. Oh no, I would like that. I would enjoy that. Ooh, you think we'll get Moonstone? She had the benefit of being on both.
This is true. She does have the benefit of being on both.
She was the Thunderbolt and the Dark Avenger.
Probably.
I love me some Moonstone. Ooh, that would be good. That would be good. Ooh, maybe that's who Emilia Clarke is.
Oh, I didn't think about that. I saw that they
I know
Clarke was going to be cast in the Secret Avengers along with Sam Jackson, Nick Fury, and I can't think of the other like bigger name actors right now that they cast.
Olivia Colman. Also very excited. Also a huge get. Like I love Olivia Colman for Secret Invasion, and so that's gonna be exciting. I know everyone was saying
definitely gonna be Queen Varanki, right?
That's what I was thinking. So my thing was, I know everyone was thinking that Emilia is going to be Spider-Woman, but I think she's actually going to end up being someone like Tigra, or somebody else who played like a role in that. But I don't know. Now I'm just talking about Moonstone because I just want some Moonstone.
Just want some Moonstone.
I just want some Moonstone. I don't know. She could very well be Spider-Woman though, but I don't know. I feel like that's a little too obvious.
I also don't know how the Spider-Woman rights work right now. I think that is with Sony.
I've heard back and forth. I heard that they're with Sony. I've heard some people say that they're Marvel. I have no idea. I mean, I know Black Cat and Silver Sable are Sony, but Spider-Woman's also never really been a part of like Spider-Man's world. So it's like,
which is wild. I'm pretty sure that Sony does have the rights to Spider-Woman because although that she has no connection to Peter Parker, she is like a spider character. Yeah. So, unfortunately, I think that Olivia Wilde has actually been tacked on to do the movie for Spider-Woman.
Oh, has she? Oh, okay. Well, yeah, Amelia's definitely gonna be Tiger then. But even going back to that, getting back to Sam and them, I think. Oh, episode 6. One thing that I really, really loved, everything with Isaiah and Eli and Sam.
Yeah.
Extremely well done. I love it because, we just get Isaiah Bradley and we're getting Eli Bradley, so we'll probably get Patriot too. It's like, okay, love all of that.
I would tell them, listen, I know who this character is. I did my Google research.
I saw who it's
supposed to be. I ain't going nowhere.
It's like, yeah, we're here. You got me. It's good. But we're getting all that, and then B, it's a relationship that we're getting to build on that we never got to see in the comics. When Sam was Captain America, he never interacted with Isaiah. He never interacted with Eli. I actually think that was a big time when Eli had all the red tape around his legal rights, and so Marvel couldn't use him in comic books. So Sam actually ended up getting a new Patriot, this guy named Rayshawn Lucas, which still gags me that his name was Rayshawn. I could not believe Nick Spencer did that.
Let's name him Rayshawn. Like what?
It was just like, wow. Okay. But that characters, unfortunately, like Sam, Luke Cage, Black Panther, a lot of them and the characters that get wrapped up in with them tend to get a little bit of a negative connotation sometimes with the writers who get them. There's a lot of respectability politics round up in that, and so I can definitely see Nick Spencer kind of looking at it and naming this kid Rayshawn Lucas.
Right.
And thinking
he's doing something good.
It was like this big statement, and it was just like, sir, please don't.
Yeah.
So yeah, but that was that. But I really enjoy everything with them. I love them kind of taking or Sam taking Isaiah to the museum and like showing him his memorial and how his history is going to be remembered. And even when they just had the conversation, he's like, you were up there as that black Captain America. I know they said we would never have one, they could never do it, but like you're doing it. And it's just like, oh, I love this. This is my song. So
yeah,
that was.
I wished the statue of him was that comic book costume of his. You know what I mean? Like with that like mask around his face or whatever. Yeah, the bandana. I think that would have been cool. And like his own little shield right there. I think that would have been cool to see versus him just in his like military garb. But I thought that was fantastic that he was like, I want to show you like what I made sure was going to happen. We moved some of Steve's shit to the side. Move it out the way.
Got it on out.
Make some room because we're gonna definitely make sure we have an Isaiah Bradley portion of this museum because you are Captain America. And
how did you feel about Carly and her end?
I don't think I liked it.
Okay.
I don't think I liked it because the turn for her to become like this villain was so sharp. And again, I have the Flag Smashers app on my phone now. At this point, I don't think they did anything wrong. And they never really portrayed Carly as this like more sinister kind of person or whatever. I think had they did more of that and kind of shown her, being more dark or being more of instinct to kill something or something like that, then maybe I would have understood her being labeled as the villain. But she kind of didn't do a lot outside of, she definitely let those people burn in that building when they blew up. But all of them,
and this is where I say I kind of felt like some of the writing on episode 6 was a little bit lax, especially compared to 5, which did such a really good job at really digging into some of these characters. Even when you think about Sam and Carly and the conversation they had with together in the beginning at the funeral, and they were kind of talking about the nuance of like what she was doing, whether she was right or wrong, and how they operated, and like where do you draw the line between hero, activist, villain, all of that stuff. I feel like so much of that was kind of washed away in episode 6. And even when you get to episode 5 and she just killed Hoskins, which sends John Walker down this like even more horrible path that he's already on to like Crazy Town. And she's talking to him about, she's like, oh, I didn't mean to kill your friend. I don't kill people who don't matter. And it's just like, what?
Right. Now, the follow-up, that line to me was very heavy-handed.
Yeah. It's just
like, oh my God, because when in episode 6 and Carly is like, oh, I didn't kill anybody who doesn't matter, and Walker is like, oh, you think Lamar's life didn't matter? I was like, okay.
Like it was something bad. Like, and this is what
I understand the Black Lives Matter thing that you're trying to portray here. This is extremely heavy-handed.
Exactly, and that's why I say that some of it is just like that writing. It doesn't make sense. And then again, even when you look back at Carly, it's like all that nuance of what you're doing. You're saying you don't kill people who don't matter, or like something. What do you mean? None of these people matter. Like, what do you mean? That's the whole reason you're doing this. Oh, yeah. It was
necessary for them to get to that line of Walker saying that. So yeah,
she definitely got the short end of the stick, and I feel I didn't like Carly in the beginning. From the beginning, I didn't. She was doing whatever she was doing, but
the character or all of the above.
All of the above. Again, I understood what Carly was doing, and I totally get why you'd have the Flag Smashers app on your phone. But I was with Sam, it's like, we can do this, but you kind of going about it the wrong way. Like, you are very much drawing the line between activists and terrorists at this point. And it's like, you need to calm down. She was going down the wrong road. Like, she was saying, and I got to go back and watch the episode where they were talking, because she was getting a little snippy, saying some things. It was like, well, you better watch your tone, little girl. Watch your tone. So we're gonna get into that, but she definitely got the short end of the stick. I felt a little bad for her, and then she dies, and it's kind of like, and I get it. Even in that moment where you have Sam carrying her, like, and his wings are out, and he's Captain America, it's supposed to be very
like an angel.
it was supposed to be like very symbolic and all of
It
that
looks
stuff.
cool. I won't lie. It looks
It looked
cool.
great, but it was just like, oh my gosh.
He looked like an angel when he was carrying her.
Like,
Because I will say that every scene of him, I thought the costume looked good. There were some parts along his chest and shoulders look a little clunky, and I wish it was a little bit tighter on his body. But like the look of it all looked great. I think that every scene of Sam in that new Captain America costume was phenomenal. When he was flying around in that whole flight
it
against
looks
that
so
scene,
good in motion. It looks
oh my
so
gosh, I
good.
rewound that scene of him flipping through and using the shield to like bounce off of and telling the one like hostage in the back like, hey, I'm gonna do this thing. I need you to get to the front to get the controls for the helicopter. And he like flew through it and got the guy. I was like, this is insane. It's so
Yeah,
cool.
like it was given. It was
Yeah.
everything, and I
But
I agree that I do feel like the suit looked a little chunky up top, but I also feel like most MCU suits look that way in the beginning. I think of like
yeah.
Captain America's first suit, and so even Carol's first suit that she got. A lot of the first suits are kind of like test
Yeah.
runs. So
Mhm.
hopefully by Captain America 4 or Falcon and Winter Soldier season 2, because I've heard that they are shopping around for the idea of that. Next time we see a suit, it'll look good or look better.
I I like I said, I still liked it. I thought he looked
Oh
great
yeah.
in it. Especially I didn't realize this, and you can tell me is this a Sam Wilson thing? He'd love to kick somebody in the chest.
Oh yeah,
Like
that's people all the time. You've never seen my? I have a thread. I'm gonna look for. I have a thread on Twitter that is literally just Sam kicking people in, in both the MCU and in the comic books. It's just literally
okay.
him just like flying down and kicking people.
So that's his thing, is kicking, because he
That's
will
the
kick
thing.
somebody in the chest.
And it's like even he kicks like a helicopter. His leg strength is amazing. He like kicks a
Hmm.
helicopter. There's this one scene, I think it was from Age of Ultron actually, where he comes down and he like kicks these two guys in the head, and it's like, ooh, there's no, or is it Civil War? One of those movies.
Mm.
He kicks these guys in the head, and it's like, ooh, their skulls are broken. It's like,
Was it when he
it's
does
not
that
good.
like kick spin flip thing? Because that was really
Yes,
cool. Yeah.
yes,
Yes. I think
yes.
that was Civil
I'm not.
War.
I'll send you the thread so you can look at the thread. It's an entire little thing of him just kicking people. It's fantastic. It brings me a lot of joy to continue to add to it. Oh, I should actually find some stuff from this show to add to it now. Because he's
Oh
kicking.
yes, you probably get updated. Yes.
Kicking.
He gets a kick. I really enjoyed his speech that he had, with the council people, and it was long. I will say that. But I don't know if it's something that Sam does where he gets on a soapbox.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So like actually during the Nick Spencer Captain America run, like all Sam did was give speeches. It was fantastic. Like it was
Okay.
like it because like all the speeches were very inspirational. They always kind of hit. Like that was one thing. Nick Spencer wrote a really good Sam. I will give him that. Like I know he got a lot of flack during that time, especially because he had Captain America as the agent of Hydra, and a lot of people didn't like
I
that.
thought Hydra
And
Cap was a good story. I don't care.
it was great. It was
I thought
really
it was
good.
good.
But
Secret
he
Empire
got
was
a
good.
he did a lot of good stuff. He had a lot of speeches where Sam was kind of like calling out the government on stuff. He had Sam give the eulogy at War Machine's funeral. He had his big like hero speech during Secret Empire. He had a couple of those actually. Like Sam's a speech giver. He talks. He's
Okay.
very long.
So then do you feel like this has been a pretty great portrayal of Sam
Yeah.
Wilson in the
Yes.
show?
100%. Again, like I said, this show has really made me appreciate Anthony Mackie as Sam a lot more than I did before, and it has reminded me, oh, that Sam is a character I truly, truly love. He is like my favorite.
Yeah, yeah. I know you are like a Sam, so I wanted to take your word on it means a lot more than anybody else's. So you know what I mean? Like you the fan, so like I want to know if they have been like getting him right.
For all the things that for all the issues that the show might have had here and there, whatever, like Sam has been good, and like the way Mackie has grown into his role as Sam has been great.
How did you feel about what they kind of finished up with Bucky and him apologizing to the guy that he killed his son
It was
and
fine.
yeah.
I mean, I I think we talked about this before, but it's like I wasn't really sure what they were going to do with Bucky or where they were going to take him anyway. So I just feel as though, hey, you either give him his peace and like let him really start to live, or you kill him off. So
yeah,
he
I'm
got
glad they gave us peace.
some peace.
Go let him be. He can go be done. He can
Yeah,
go kick it with Sarah. You know.
yeah, exactly. Okay, because she was writing.
Okay. He was. It was really cute to see. He was like, "Oh, what's your name, Sarah?"
Yeah. It's like, oh,
Okay.
and it's part it's like, A, he was probably interested in, and B, he knew it was just going to annoy Sam. So it's like,
Yes.
it's the layer. So you
Win-win.
gotta
Yeah.
love,
Yeah.
love that.
I think I wasn't expecting them to kill Bartrock at the end. However, I do think that kind of what you said with the heel turn for Sharon, like I think that she shot Carly because she didn't want to get out that she was a power broker.
Agreed.
And she also obviously worked with Zemo to get the rest of those Winter Soldiers killed so that it didn't come out that she was a power broker. So
Sharon's
her, yeah. I wonder if you think she's like triple crossing.
I would hope so. Cause I don't want bad Sharon. I like Sharon.
I don't think I want bad Sharon either.
I don't want bad Sharon. I don't want someone to have to snap her neck.
I could see them doing a triple turn thing with her and just having a lifelong Contessa.
That's kind of what they did with what's her name? Songbird, isn't it? She's played like a triple agent status before. I wonder if maybe that's kind of what they're doing.
No idea. I'm not the biggest Songbird fan, so I don't know.
She's fine. She's cool. Her powers are pink.
Right. Her power, yeah. She's like a Green Lantern, kinda.
So it's like it's sound manipulation. I don't know if it's her actual.
I don't think
voice
she can make constructs or anything, right?
No, I think she can. I don't know. I've read Thunderbolts before. I should go back and read that because I don't really remember. She's cool. She's fine.
Yeah.
She makes constructs, I think, though, for sure. Screaming Mimi, that was her old name.
Oh yeah. I wonder if they'll ever bring her into the MCU.
Well, that's what I was saying. Like, I think if they're kind of giving Sharon her role as a triple agent that she's played before, then I wonder if that means they won't do her.
Oh. Well, that sucks for the. We'll see. I wonder what they're gonna do with the U.S. agent. That's kind of what makes me think that they're going Dark Avengers because he's mostly been an Avenger, then tied to the Thunderbolts.
Yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be exciting to see. I think they'll probably just continue to use him as an adversary. I don't know if I see them putting him on the Dark Avengers.
Mm-mm. You don't think so? As like their Captain America fill-in?
I don't know. I don't know if he deserves.
He doesn't. He doesn't. But I don't know who else they would put in as like the dark Captain America.
Okay, I guess that's true.
The evil Captain America, and I feel like they're all gonna have their counterparts.
But that's even if they do like a dark Captain America, because it hasn't always ever been like the Iron Patriot, who was supposed to be like the mix of both of them. I wouldn't mind that. I mean, it probably will be John if they do it. Who cares? As long as he gets beat up, because he didn't get like his come up enough for me in this show. I will.
You think so? I mean, episode 5, they would. they had to break his arm.
So I will say that episode 5 did feel a little bit disingenuous in the way that everybody kind of turned against him, especially the government, and they disembarked him, because that's not what happens in real life.
Okay, that would not happen in America.
Especially, like, he would have got a Medal of Honor.
Okay.
And
they would have had to scrub that video from the internet, and he would have gotten all kinds of accolades.
And that is one thing I will say I did have a problem with the show. I felt like when they addressed race and kind of issues of that nature, it was still felt a little PC or just like relatable. Like, I think about, and I hate to compare shows sometimes, but I think about Watchmen on HBO and how they handle like a lot of their race issues with like the government and the Klan and cops and stuff, and it like really hit home for you. And it was kind of like heavy, but it was like, damn, like it's also really good in the way they do it. And I feel like here they wanted to keep it digestible for you, to kind of remind you that, oh, this goes on, but also this is still a Disney product.
Right.
And I wish that there would have been a little bit more reality in that situation for some people to be like, You ain't do nothing wrong. And it's everybody was like, oh yeah, this is so bad, you can't be Captain America. But really, like this is what America does.
Okay, and just it's okay to shine a light on it,
Yeah,
and
and
not
like it's
try to shy away from it.
and like really get into that perspective of the other people on the other side and say, oh, this is how we feel about that situation. So I feel as though we play softball with that, and I wish they wouldn't have. But other than that, it's fine.
Yeah. I'm excited for everything that's gonna come up going forward with this. I wonder,
Hmm.
the MCU, in my opinion, is so interesting compared to the comics because I feel like Sam was Captain America for like a couple years in the comics, and then
Hmm.
it reverted back. Um,
Hmm.
there's no reverting back in this because
Okay.
time exists and Steve is dead. So like,
Okay.
you know, uh,
So he's
where do you
Cap.
go from here? So he's Captain
He's
America,
Cap.
so it's going to be interesting to see how this kind of like moves forward. And kind of like we talked about earlier, like with comics and stuff, you kind of wish
Hmm.
that there was a little bit more time in things so like people can grow up
Yeah.
and stories can kind of progress forward. It's going to
Hmm.
be very interesting to see how this story progresses forward
Right.
as there's no Steve Rogers to come and take the shield back,
Exactly. Like, and all these actors are on contracts, and they actually get
Right.
old. So it's like they're gonna get to a point where it's like, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to jump from bridges, and like
Right.
do all these things and be attached to all these wires all the time. So it's like you kind of have to go with it. I also kind of hope we get a little bit of that MCU synergy, and Sam can return to the comics in some form or fashion. I really do miss reading about him monthly. I also wonder. I don't wonder. I hope that they would do an update to his suit to kind of give him his own shield back, just for that MCU synergy. Because I like him with it. I liked him with the shield. It's good to
It
see.
was cool. It was cool to see him use a shield as a thing that he was like as a weapon.
Yeah, it was. Oh, did you know? So Rick Remender, who like spearheaded Sam turning into Captain America, he was posting some things on Twitter about from when he originally did it all those years ago, and he showed the original design that Carlos Pacquiao had did for Sam as Cap. It wasn't the best, but Remender was tweeting about how when he was making the decision, Marvel wanted him to get rid of the wings. That,
Why? I wonder. You
exactly.
know what? I wonder if they were trying to do that because they really wanted to drive home the fact that he was Captain America.
Probably, but like that's the problem. It's like he's
Right. That's the
Captain
problem.
America.
Right.
Like let him have his wings.
Right. He's his
um,
Captain. Let him have his wings.
but yeah, he was saying that he had to fight really hard to keep the wings in the design because they did not want them. And I was just like, can you imagine?
Oh my.
What would
Yeah.
he have
No.
done? Like it
Yeah.
looks good.
Run around just like Steve Rogers, probably on a motorcycle or something. No, I think him flying is cool.
Yeah, so I was really glad. But that was a nice little bit of information that I got from that. So I thought that was cool. And I'm
That's
glad he
really.
fought so hard for the wings because they look great.
I wonder what other types of design things like that have ever happened for characters. I'm glad that he stuck to his guns and be like, no, keep the wings in because
Yeah,
Falcon
very
needs them.
okay. Sometimes you
Which
gotta have to look.
would be called Falcon if he got a shield in the
I
comic.
mean, I guess that's fine. I mean, I like Sam as the Falcon. I
Okay.
think I've always said that. I enjoy the Falcon identity. I just wish they gave him something to do.
Okay.
So if he's gonna be Falcon, that's actually perfectly fine with me. But I don't know. Again, I just thought him having a shield was kind of nice, and I would like to see them do a little bit more synergy of showing his like aerial combat versus his on the ground combat, and like mixing that in with it.
Yeah, I agree. Especially after watching this, because like that aerial combat was
He was
with the
giving.
shield.
He was giving.
I'm probably watching it again after this. I'm sorry, it was
Yes,
given.
sir.
Um, I'm excited for everything that's gonna come up in the MCU. So like this Phase 4 has been pretty great. I
Phase
mean,
four is hitting.
for me, the most exciting thing for Phase 4 is Fantastic Four, but that's not coming until I don't know when. And um, although the next thing after that is probably the Eternals. I'm think I'll be coming like an Eternal stand, so I'm excited to see
Yeah, I'm
them.
excited. I'm excited for that first Eternals trailer. I feel like we're gonna get that soon too.
Yeah, I think so. Especially, I think that's supposed to come out later this year. So,
Oh, yeah,
we'll
yeah, yeah.
see. Yeah,
That's definitely gonna
I
come
think
soon.
it's supposed to come out maybe October or November or something like that. So,
Okay, I'm gonna get a little Eternal stuff. It's got Gemma Chan, and I love Gemma Chan. She is
yeah,
amazing.
she's great. Yeah. And Angelina Jolie and
Salma Hayek.
like
Yeah.
both of the Stark boys from Game of Thrones.
It's a cast. They're coming. And I think that's been my thing with the MCU too now. Everyone like gets really excited when they cast like people like Olivia Colman or Emilia Clarke. For me, I think it's just another day now. we got the
Everybody's
talent.
in the MCU at this
Like
point.
every
Yeah,
like we got the talent. Everybody's here. It's cool. It's
yeah.
just let me know who they are. I think it's more surprising now when DC gets somebody.
Yeah.
Like when they got Lucy Liu for the Black Adam movie,
Yeah.
I screamed
Yeah.
for sure.
Oh, no, she's in Shazam, right?
Are they not the same movie?
Uh-uh. See, they don't have a plan. People don't know. Yeah, they have. There's a Shazam 2 that's separate from Black Adam.
Oh.
Yeah, Black Adam is his own movie with Hawkman
Well,
and Dr. Fate and all that.
I was about to say that's really all I've been paying attention
Well,
to. That's all I
yeah, yeah. I can't wait to see him posting his harness pictures.
Swing that mate.
All right, y'all. Well, on that note, let's go get up out of here. You can find us on Twitter at Another Relaunch. You can send us emails with questions, concerns, any kind of relaunches you may want us to read out at anotherrelaunch@gmail.com. You can find me on most social media sites at UncannyLZ. Oh, don't forget to find us on YouTube as well. So hit subscribe if you want to watch us instead of listening. You can find us by going to Another Relaunch TV on YouTube. Keenan, where can they find you?
You can find me on most social media at Keenan Lance with an underscore at the end. Yes.
All right, y'all. We are out. Peace.